Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Microsoft Tech Community IT Pro Throwdown, and this will be our November 2019 call. My name is Werner Raal. I'm a Premier Field Engineer at Microsoft, and I'm focusing on devices and mobility. This includes System Center Configuration Manager, Intune, as well as Enterprise Mobility and Security. If you'd like to follow on the events and blogs and stuff that I post, feel free to follow the LinkedIn address below, as well as follow me on Twitter. Thank you for joining today's session. We are going to be focusing on deploying applications with the PowerShell Application Deployment Toolkit. Looking at the agenda, we will take a look at the business case, the options we have, the final solution that I chose, a demo that I've pre-recorded, as well as some helpful links that could help you with application deployment. So let's jump into it. The business case that I had was, I was at a customer that required the installation of the Mimecast for Outlook add-in. Now, if you have worked with this, then you'll understand that it is an MSI that you download and you can deploy it via SCCM, via GPO, via scripting, however you like deploying applications. If you have never worked with it, don't worry, you will see it in my demo. The customer wanted a notification that had to be in the user's face. They wanted it to stand out, and Config Manager does a really great job already of deploying applications. So if you have users that are already used to that, then that's great. If you want something that stands out a little bit more and warns people before something gets installed, then my solution will also meet those needs of yours. They needed some more customization, some just to understand why, some pre and post install actions, and also warning the user that they need to save their work before this actually happens and the app actually installs. Also needed a timer. The timer works in SCCM, works fine already. If you go to client settings and you deploy it there, you can choose a timer, and you can also give the user 60 minutes before they restart. I think if you've worked with SCCM, you have seen the timer before, but this is a little bit different. So which options do we have out of the box with SCCM itself? Firstly, the option to install to run another program first is definitely always an option. This is where you create a package that you select, and there's an option that you select and you say run another program first, and this will run the package that you first created. And so what were the issues with this option when I tried it at the specific customer? And you had to write your own code. So you really had to understand how to deploy apps with how to call the MSI, which parameters to use. You had to package the app, distribute it, deploy it, and then also do some testing. I'm going to jump to the blog that I wrote of the exact same title and scroll up a bit. If you'd like to go here, you can go to secureinfra.blog. This is the Microsoft Secure Infrastructure official website, and there's quite a bunch of great articles on here that you could follow. To jump back into today's topic, this is the option I was talking about. If you look at under advanced, there's the option that you would select the tick, run another program first. As you saw, my program was called Mimecast Pop-Up Timer, and basically this would run before the Mimecast for Outlook add-in was installed. This is what it looked like. It had a very basic pop-up there to say to a user that Outlook will automatically close in 5 minutes, and then I also had a force close command that killed Outlook. This also created a little splash screen there that shows you that Mimecast is installing, and then also when it was successfully installed. Now there was no really smart or there was no really very smart logic built into this, which means that if you look at the code itself, there was I just basically set a timer, and this didn't always work exactly the same. The MSI didn't always take the exact amount of time to install on different machines. So everybody had to wait the 5 minutes, and that wasn't really, I didn't really like that it didn't have a little bit a better way to understand the return codes when you're installing an MSI. So I was really looking for something that was a little smarter than what my PowerShell skills allowed at the moment. My code is available for download, and you can also go and modify it if you do like the balloon pop-ups, but this was my first option. This wasn't exactly what the customer wanted, and that got me back to looking for better options. Something new that was launched in 1906, Config Manager current branch allows you to deploy application groups. Now, application groups work awesome because you write your application and you deploy it pre your other application, and this means that you can run a whole bunch of different stuff before and after your actual program installs. Unfortunately, this customer at the moment didn't have 1906, so I still had to go and look for other options. The only drawback of this, you still had to create your own application script, still had to distribute it, still had to deploy it, so you're back in the same boat. The solution, finally, the thing that I found that really made my life a lot easier, it's called the PowerShell Application Deployment Toolkit. Now, this has some very advanced customization that you can look at. The website is also called the PowerShell Application Deployment Toolkit, or PSApp Toolkit. I've got a link at the end of this presentation where you can visit them with the manuals, the software you need to download. This really made customizing the application that I was deploying much easier. We can include a custom logo. As you can see on the little screenshot there, the PowerShell Application Deployment Toolkit, that ribbon is all customizable. Every single, you can see this was for Adobe. Every single word, all of these things are all customizable. You can defer and install, you can continue, you can close programs. The MSI was called via an exe, which made it really easy because you didn't have to understand any of the parameters to deploy an MSI. Gave you great install and uninstall actions and pre and post actions that we will all run through in the demo. So yeah, this was the final solution that I got that really just met the customer's expectations. So let us jump ahead to the demo. As you can see, this is a pre-recorded demo, just to make it a little bit easier with deploying stuff. So first things first, you're going to download the PSApp Deployment Toolkit from their website, and you will extract this to a folder that you can copy the toolkit out of. There's a nice little admin guide document there that explains everything. It is quite long, so that's why I created this blog, just to show you quickly what it all contains. These are all the files that you're going to require to deploy this. So copy everything out of the toolkit, paste it in a share. I pasted it on a programs, as you can see, for x86. And then I also pasted the MSI that I'm going to require for this install in the files folder. Rename it so that you can copy the name, because we are going to use this in the PowerShell script. In the app deploy toolkit folder, you will see there's a banner. If you match the size of this banner and you call it the app deploy toolkit banner, then you can change it to any labels that you want, your company logo, the app logo, whatever you like. Then the customization. If you look at the PowerShell file deploy application, this is where we are actually going to change some of the settings. Now this is yeah, so we'll just scroll down a little bit. It looks intimidating in the beginning, but it's not really as intimidating as it looks. It's really quite easy. In my blog, I also explained to you exactly which lines you need to edit. As you can see, here we edit line 64 until line 72. Add some of your details in there so you understand. Like I said earlier, this is a pre-recorded demo, so just makes it a little bit easier when you, instead of deploying something live, having to wait for it, and just for the sake of time. So remember to save your script while you're editing this. Now, after filling in the details there, we'll scroll down a bit. Scroll down. And we will have a look at, just need to scroll down just a little bit. Okay, line 117 to 126. As you can see here, this is it's for uninstall, but Works the same for the install. We'd close apps Outlook, would give it a close apps countdown, which is about 120 seconds. So that's 2 minutes. And block execution just means that the user cannot defer this from installing. If you look at the execute MSI, this is a function that the guys from PSApp Toolkit wrote. And as you can see, you just paste the MSI in there that we copied earlier from the files folder. Action will be install. Post installation, this is where a message will pop up to tell the user that they can now reopen their Outlook and everything, the install went well. Now it does have some error codes as well that it can return to you. So if you deploy this via SCCM, the great thing is you get actual troubleshooting error codes that will show you where it failed, why it failed, and just all that type of good stuff. Same for the pre-uninstallation. You just close the Outlook, I just gave it 1 minute there, and it also shows you the installation progress. So you'll just go and replace everywhere where you say execute MSI, and you'll replace it with a file of the MSI that you want to install. Now you can install a whole bunch of different MSI with this. You don't just need this. You can't only install this. You can do whatever you require. If the MSI can be installed via command prompt, you can run it. So what do we need to do to create this? In config manager, we're using config manager to deploy this. You select a manual application, and you will fill in all the required details in here. As you can see, mine was for the 32-bit install of Outlook. Using the software version that you install always helps. As you can see, application catalog, just leave all of this default. And then under deployment types, we click add. We select manually specify the deployment type information again, give it a name. Content location will be the location where I extracted everything, the share that I copied all the files into. So that is my config manager server. You don't have to copy it to the config manager server. You can copy it anywhere else, as long as you can access the share from the config manager console. You will just choose the root folder, installation program. You're going to say deploy application.exe and install. You're going to copy that, paste it in the uninstall, just replace install with uninstall. And like I said, you don't need to know any of the custom MSI parameters to install this. It just worked really great, just like this. This is the only part of the installation program that you almost need to know. Adding the clause, this is for a detection rule. You will choose your MSI, and config manager will automatically fill in the details for you. As you can see, the version 7.7. User experience. In this specific scenario, it's really important that we install for a system and only when a user is logged on, because we want the user to see exactly what is happening in this. You don't want to install for a system while the user is locked their machine and they come back and their Outlook's closed after 2 minutes. So that's really important. There are some requirements you can add in here, total physical memory. Basically, this little add-in we're installing doesn't require much to run. If you can run Outlook, you can run this. And we will click next and finish our application creation. Great, so that's done. Click close. We will distribute that to our distribution points. only have one at this lab environment. And we will create a deployment for this. Oh, still distributing. Obviously distributes much faster in this demo environment. Okay, we're going to create a deployment that's also specific to this install. So we'll choose the client that I have, client 03, add the distribution point that is on, and we will make the install required. I like to add the option where users can repair the application, just in case, you know, and the install fails or they restart the machine while it's happening or something like that, then they can always do a repair. Very important, under the user notifications, you need to say display in Software Center and only show notification for computer restarts. This is only specific in this scenario as per the manual from the PS App Deployment Toolkit. And yeah, just for the whole command to work properly. As you can see, we have our user here, and he's emailing Mr. Anderson at mytrix.com. And we will now see if we do a machine policy refresh, that it should start to pull the software, download it from the DP. And if we go to Software Center, we should see the Mimecast for Outlook add-in. As you can see, it's already there. So now we just give it a second. And there you go. This is the pop-up that your users will be seeing to say, please save your work. Otherwise, close Outlook if you already saved your work. Really awesome. Gives them the time. You can choose whatever time works for your users. You can have the banner there at the top. You can change it to your company logo, to their software installing, whatever you need. As soon as the user is ready, they click close, and you see the pop-ups start appearing. Now, this is just a little bit more than the standard pop-ups that you're getting from Config Manager. Obviously, I like either way. I like using Config Manager as well. But this was just exactly what the customer required. Now, this waits for the installation, and as you see, it says installation complete. And upon the completion of the MSI, you get the little pop-up to say you can now safely open Outlook. As you see, this whole installation took less than a minute, and we didn't have to keep our user out of their work for 5 minutes, which is really great. Going to the installed applications, you can see it's installed successfully. Yeah, so let me get back to that presentation. Some helpful sources and helpful links that you can follow and look at is the secure infrastructure blog that I mentioned earlier. There's great stuff, Active Directory on there, System Center on there, Azure stuff on there. There's just so much content, and it's worldwide, so you really get really up-to-date stuff there. psappdeploymentoolkit.com, that's the official website where you will download the zip file, you'll download and you can download their manual, you can read and donate and whatever they would like. Always the Microsoft Configuration Manager documentation, docs.microsoft.com. It's really awesome. It contains everything about Config Manager that you would need to deploy applications, to build your infrastructure, to look at optimization, and it's just really awesome. Under LinkedIn, you can go to companies, and if you search Microsoft Tech Community IT Pro Throwdown, this is this session. If you want to see more of this and learn some things, that'd be really great. You can have a look there and see what up and coming events we will have. If you have any questions or you'd like me to clarify anything, feel free to follow me on LinkedIn as well as on Twitter. And I'm going to give you a few minutes just to note down these or screenshot these links. Thank you very much for joining the session today, and I hope this has been informative, and we hope to see you very soon, one of our